right? It says he's poor in spirit. It says that he mourns. It says that he's meek. It says that he hungers and thirsts for righteousness. It says that he's merciful. It says that he's pure in heart. It says he's a peacemaker. It also says that he is persecuted. Where are we at here? Persecuted for righteousness' sake.
Sorry, babe.
It's okay. I'll hit this last part later. All right, I'm going to come to it later. Don't worry about that. So some of these are a little ambiguous, right? Pure in heart, what does that mean? I don't know. So Jesus is a rabbi. He's an itinerant, wandering Bible teacher. All right, that's what he's doing. He's going place to place. He's just teaching the Bible wherever he can. He's in a religious environment. People who went to church their whole life knew the Old Testament. So when he says these things, certain things are going to pop into their head. For example, poor in spirit. They're going to be like, wait a minute, poor in spirit? Mourn? That sounds a lot like what Isaiah is saying, right? In Isaiah chapter 61-ish. They didn't have chapters back then. So I'm not going to do this with all of them, but some of the more ambiguous ones I want to hit because I really want you guys to get a feel for this guy's character, who this person is. So if someone could turn to Isaiah 61:1, and then someone to Isaiah 66:2. And while you're doing that, I'm not just pulling this out of nowhere. This mourn and this poor in spirit, these three words are all three of them used in Isaiah 61, 1, 2, and 3, and then 66. So this is not just, I'm not just pulling this out of nowhere. This is actually probably what he is quoting, was referring to. Does anybody have it?
What was it, 61?
61:1.
The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to those who are bound.
Right. So the first one, there's some key things that pop out here. Poor, right? There's our word, poor. And remember, this is in response to the law. They're poor, brokenhearted, captives, and bound. So this is their response. They're poor and brokenhearted because of their captivity, and they're being bound to their sin. Can someone read 66:2?
All these things my hand has made, and so all these things came to be, declares the Lord. But this is the one to whom I will look, he who is humble and contrite in spirit and trembles at my word. Right.
So this is the one to whom I will look, he who is humble in spirit. There's our word again, spirit, and trembles at my word. So he's poor in spirit. He's humble in spirit. He trembles at the word of God. He mourns. He mourns because he wants to be righteous. He mourns because of his sin. His sin grieves him. It's not just a flippant thing. He is meek. Now, what does meek mean? It was a word we never use. The only definition I've ever heard for meek isn't weak. All right? I'm getting there. Don't jump the gun. Save your questions to the end. This phrase, the meek shall inherit the earth, comes right out of Psalms 37:11. Okay? So if you could read Psalms, and everything before that, from 1 to 37, is, I think, the most accurate definition to what the Bible describes as meek. Actually, I can read it too if you guys.
It's 37:11.
Right. I got it, babe. All right. So again, don't get too caught up around this. I just want you guys to just focus on imagining an individual and his character. Fret not yourself because of evildoers. Be not envious of wrongdoers. So this is the context. Everything for the rest of this psalm is about that. Is about this person was wronged, and he was sinned against, or he was wronged, or he sees evil going on, and he's not fretting himself. Okay? For they will soon fade like the grass and wither like the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land, befriend faithfulness. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in him, and he will act. He will bring forth your righteousness as light, and your justice as the noonday. Be still before the Lord, and wait patiently for him. Fret not yourself over the one who prospers in his way. There it is again. Over the man who carries out evil devices. Refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not yourself, it tends only to evil, for the evildoer shall be cut off, but those who wait for the Lord shall inherit the land. In just a little while the wicked will be no more. Though you look for them carefully in his place, he will not be there. Here it is. But the meek shall inherit the land. So the definition, the way the Bible defines the word meek is, if someone sins against me, I'm going to trust in the Lord to exact justice and vengeance and have him bring forth my righteousness and not engage in conflict. So yes, meekness is not weakness, and anybody that thinks that being meek is weak should try being meek for a week. So this person hungers and thirsts for righteousness. Okay, deep down inside of him, he wants to be righteous. And you can see it's sort of painting the picture for us. He mourns because of his sin. He wants to be righteous. He's merciful. Why is he merciful? He's merciful because God is merciful to him. Because he's aware of his sin. He's aware of his depravity. He's aware of his brokenness. And he wants to, he knows that God has to be merciful to him. So in turn, he reflects that image. He's pure in heart. This word heart, well, I'm not going to get too into it. He's a peacemaker. Okay? Now, there's a time for peace and a time for war, right? Most of us here are soldiers and kill people for a living, right? So there is a time for that. But deep down in this person's heart, deep down in this person's character and nature is he wants peace. He loves peace. He doesn't want to argue about Calvinism, right? He doesn't want to argue about whatever. He wants peace. And here's a big one. It's funny that this is thrown in here. He's persecuted for righteousness' sake. His righteousness is so evident that it's noticed by others, and he's reviled for it. I'm going to skip salt. I'm going to come back to that because it's the most ambiguous of all the texts. Light. The first part of it. You're a city on your. Can everybody read this? You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket. I think that, as you see here, this is a rebuke, right? In salt, he says, you're the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, what good is it? Other than be thrown out and trampled by men. I think that rebuke is traveling down into the light. He's saying, yeah, you're the light of the world. A city on a hill can't be hidden, right? So why are you hidden? The city, you're supposed to be a city on a hill. How come no one sees you? People don't light a lamp and put it under a basket. So the question I need to ask is, what is light? Okay, now I know, John, if you guys really want to get into light, just cross-reference light in the book of John, and you'll have more definitions of light than you'll ever need. But what does this text mean when it says light? The light of the world. In the same way, let your light shine before men. Okay, what is this light? Let your light shine before men. What is this light? It says, right here, that they may see your good works. So, we can say light is your good works. And what does it do? What are your good works supposed to do? Okay, so let's imagine here we have a dark room. And what are you doing? You're trying to walk around, you're stumbling, you're in the dark, you're blind. Sound familiar? Right? You're blind, you're frustrated because things are in your path that you don't know which way is right. Well, it says here that your good works are supposed to point as light. Where people, the same way that light shines into the darkness and illuminates the room, is the same way your good works are supposed to illuminate into someone's life, and they're like, hey, what is he doing different? Like, that's working out for him, or man, that guy has a whole different life, and it's supposed to point them out of the darkness. Another thing I'm going to argue that it says is